Hello. So I actually have two different jobs. Technically I have three, but I work at Chili's and then I also work with children, either through babysitting or through being a field trip guide and taking kids on field trips at Ball State. I'm going to start with Chili's, and then if I have enough time, I'll go through babysitting. So I perform a lot of emotional norms at Chili's as it is a service job. I'm not a server, I am a food runner, which is it's a little bit different at Chili's. So I run out food and drinks, but I don't actually take your order or interact with you for a long period of time. However, as it is a service industry, a lot of emotional labor is encouraged. You always want to be polite, you always want to engage with the guests, a lot of smiles. I like to interact with the kids a lot. There are certain interactions that you'll take for each customer. Like, for example, it's not unusual for occasionally a table will ask like you to pray with them. And, some servers will usually do that because, that's kind of the norm for like tips and stuff. So I think a lot of times it's like an everyday thing to perform emotional labor at a service job, especially one like mine where you get tipped. You kind of have to perform emotional labor because it doesn't really matter how you're feeling. You don't get paid if you are not, like someone who's very happy and friendly. And even if they are being ridiculous or lying to your face or being rude, you have to be happy, even if you know they're not going to give you a good tip at that point, because that is your job. And you can also, and this is true for most retail jobs, you can get in trouble or fired for not being pleasant, even if you are being cursed out or completely mistreated. You do have to still perform that emotional labor because that is just the society that we've kind of created, and you are expected to be pleasant and more than that, to take that abuse a lot of the times. But yes, it is something that is very interesting. And sorry, I'm just reading the questions over here. I would definitely say that I use a mix of surface acting and deep acting. I tend to more use deep acting just by trying to set my mood to be in a good mood at the start of the day. However, a lot of times that's really hard to maintain when it is with people who you really need to surface act with because they are being very rude to you or just saying things that aren't true. Occasionally someone will come in who you just don't like. Someone who, actually, it's happened a couple of times now. A high school bully of mine has come in and, we only graduated from high school 2 years ago. I don't know what he's like now. One of the servers said he's actually quite nice, apparently. But I act the same as I do any other. Luckily, since I'm not the server, I don't interact with them for long periods of time, but I put down the drinks, I smile. I'm like, here are your guys' drinks. Have a good day. And then I go back and I try not to interact or look at that table. Because, that is my job. And in service jobs like that is a lot of like little surface acting things like that. I think deep acting comes into play, especially when interacting with my coworkers and stuff and trying to stay in that good mood by joking with them. As I kind of mentioned, surface acting is very effective and appropriate in most retail and service jobs, especially ones where you are tipped, because a lot of times people can't get the day off, and even if your cat did just die, like you need to work. You have to go get that money, unfortunately, and a lot of that is putting on a big smile. And that is very true when it comes to customers who and don't like, or are just very kind of pushy and rude in general and are asking you to get them things all the time. And maybe they haven't been necessarily mean, but you kind of, some people will forget that you have other customers. And I know a lot of the servers will use a lot of surface acting when it comes to them. Some are better than others. Some people get a little petty, I would say, and I don't think that is the best strategy to use. I would say one kind of key takeaway that I got from the podcast was from the flight attendant and kind of trying to put some humor or some of your own personality into your job and make that kind of your own. And so it'll make it a little bit closer to not acting at all. And that is something that I think is really smart.